have a challenge for you. You want to embody oneness? You want to be everything, everyone? You have this awakening that makes you feel connected to everything? That implies that oneness, that everything is the case. But I'm not sure that everybody's really going down to the impact of that for you as a person, let's say. Because if oneness is the case, if that is ultimately real, which would be in religious terms the equivalent that if there is a God, if there is everything that put it all together, then this is not the story of you, a little person who is crawling up to well-being to be awakened, so you could also be awakened or enlightened like other beings. And it's not a personal story of waking up. It's the story of oneness. It's the story of everything. You realize how essential you will be to that process? If you're the dreamer, and you're dreaming that you're a person inside of the whole thing, it's not the story of a person. So this attempt you have to embody oneness, to be oneness, to realize that it is crucial not just to you, it's crucial for everything and for everyone. It's not about you. It's not the story of a little me becoming oneness, because then it will prove that the little me wasn't really a little me. And if that will be the case also, it's not like a little person, you as a separate person, you're just trying to strive for happiness. It will be more like the family has to be united. So it's not just you. It's about the happiness of everything. It's not a story about the happiness of the little person that you consider yourself to be separate, and not your neighbor, and not the problems in the other side of the world. If you have to be united with everything, it is also the happiness of everything. Happiness would be one way we talk in the level of a little person, of talking when things feels just right. Things feels just good, and everything seems to be just perfect in the right moment, the way it has to be. So if that will be the case, it's not that you as a little person are experiencing happiness, but it's more like you are happiness, and the moment that you consider yourself a little person, you lose the awareness of what you are. So you lose the awareness of happiness. You see, where's the trick in all this story with the oneness story, the God story? If God is true, if oneness is true, then you're not a little person. You cannot say as a little person, I believe in God. Or you cannot say as a little person, I am everything, but at the same time, not experiencing what you are, which is basically happiness. You will be happy if you will really understand in a practical, ultimate sense that you are everything. That would be the equal of unlimited happiness for a separated person. And that will also imply that you are not just a little person doing your thing in your world, in a day-to-day life situation. And this is the part where this probably becomes more of a challenge for many people. If you really like this idea, if you really believe in God, if you really know that oneness is the case and you are just sort of trapped in the story of a little person, then there's a huge implication to if you really say that honestly, you accept yourself to be part of the one, or being the one as a part, or whatever is the way you explain it to yourself. Because suddenly, everything that will happen in your day, everything that will happen ever, it would be not just God's will, not just what the universe is doing, is your will too. If this will have to be a dream, it has to be a simulation, it cannot be that there is like many different things. You are everything. You are the whole dream. You're not just a character inside of the dream. And that, in terms of volition, and this is one of the most shocking realizations, to wake up, not just that you are everything, but what are the consequences of that? You are everything, then what's happening? What's happening when your neighbor of someone comes and disagree with you? What happens when things don't go your way? Is your will, or is your God's will, or is oneness will? Who are you at that moment? Because if you really embody, psychologically, profoundly release yourself from your little constrained personality that you are just a body and a mind, you really release yourself, you really surrender yourself to be everything, then nothing happens that is not your will. And for the little person, this won't make sense, because your little brain cannot just understand all the things that happen in the universe, why there was a Big Bang in the first place, and why anything happens, why there are orbits with the planets, why there are seasons, why are we alive, why there is water on Earth, why there are humans on Earth. I mean, little brain obviously cannot understand that. But if you have to surrender yourself and accept your part as everything, experiencing a little tiny bit of everything, then suddenly the moment you wake up to that, there is no external world. There is no something that is outside your will. Everything has to be your will, even when you don't understand it. That is probably the most crucial point that you will know when someone comes and tells you that they are oneness, they believe in oneness. You will certainly notice to that specific character trait, how you relate to what happens to you. Because someone who's real believer, let's call it, some part that is experiencing the oneness, is experiencing a flow of whatever it is exactly how it has to be. Because that's what the total interest of everything wants, and that's you. And when you assume that, it's not like a God, it's not like an external force imposing their will, or the universe imposing its will onto you, your little animal. Suddenly it is, you are that, and you surrender yourself to be a part of the system that you really are. And then for that, heaven would be just the fact to realize that everything that happens is what you want to happen. A very deep, profound level, without separation, without you thinking that you are a person and this is no for my best interest or convenience or what I think it will be better to happen. Suddenly you are all the time in agreement with everything that happens, even it's apparently inconvenient, or it's even thoughts that may come and just you're fine with everything. You're not shocked. You're not suffering. And that's another way of saying heaven. And everything is pure, where everything is flowing. And there is no stop to the natural oneness of everything. And just the recognition of that oneness is not that makes the little disappear. It is that you realize that your will as a person is God's will too. So you don't feel bad about your desires. You don't feel bad about the intentions that you have. You understand that's something that some way has to happen, even when you don't understand it. So you can be good with yourself. Suddenly you don't feel wrong because you're fighting against the universe, fighting against God, fighting with your little will against everything. Suddenly everything is one. And your will is God's will. That goes in two ways. Because you accept what happens, and at the same time, you also recognize your will as a loving impulse. Can be misinterpreted. But ultimately, there is only loving happiness impulse on everything and everyone. It's just a very unfortunate miscommunication that happens most of the time. But in the depth of their heart, everybody's actually just looking for happiness. They're looking for the same completion that you're looking for. So it's just a misunderstanding, is chaos in the interrelationships. But if you stop fighting the system and just try to actually integrate yourself in the system and start dancing the choreography of your day as it comes and as it goes, with everything being exactly as it has to be at any given time, which is the only chance you have to live anything that would be similar to permanent happiness. In this continuous state of acceptance, that again, it doesn't deny your will. It's not that acceptance that is denying your will. Oh, you're no one, you're nothing, only God is true, and your little me, you have to suppress your thoughts because no, everything that comes is all right, is good. If you want to go out and have an ice cream, please do. If you want to, I don't know, make money even, why not? Why it has to be a bad thing? It all depends on where is it coming from and what you're going to do with it, right? But there's no money itself. It's not good or bad. It's just a tool and you don't need it, actually, if you don't want to. So if you would actually embrace this oneness, it's not that your little life as you will change. It's that everything will change. You see? I don't know if all these points are clear. Your little mind and the mind of everything will be one. So when the little bit of the mind is there, the whole system changes because a part of the system stopped fighting the system. So the whole system changes too. And not just by individual, because the individual is basically the distinction that you are making. You don't make that distinction. The rest of the world is just one thing. If you stop thinking of separation, it's not that everybody's thinking of separation, but your experience is echoing. The dream is echoing what you think and you believe. So when you stop believing that, when you let that thoughts cross your mind, your intuitive fears, your all that, if you let them just happen and go and pass by without sticking to them, then suddenly they will stop, reinforce themselves into the matrix of the dream of what you're experiencing. So it's the whole world that changes with you. And one last thing. If it is true, if oneness, it is the case, if God, it is the case, then there is no need for you to strive to change in any way. There is no need for you. There's nothing wrong with you if that's the case. You're all right. You just have to let go of the individual nightmare of being separate. And just let yourself immerse into a mind that knows no border. If you carefully look at this moment as it is, you will notice that it's actually the case. That's what meditation is. You carefully look to what is, to the point, to the level that you get to see that there is no border anywhere, ever. It's just an imposed perspective. And you can redo this perspective by attending. And how you do that? Well, if your mind, the habit of your mind compulsively pulling out of you into separation, into fighting, and you may say, yeah, I understand some of the things that you say, but I don't get to really integrate them in my life. Then it's just a habit, don't worry. Just a momentum. The Eastern countries would call it karma, but I would call it just a mental habit of grasping into thoughts. And there's a very simple bulletproof way of getting out of that level of identification that has been tested for thousands of years. And it is to hold your attention to an object. And in this way, you will be able to notice when your mind is pulling you out into distraction. And every time that happens, as we discussed before, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to change anything. Your only job is to resist the temptation of going away and just abide in presence with the object. That's how you collect your mind little by little, thought by thought. You collect everything until everything is one. And when your mind is one, everything is one. There's a link below on how to go through 10 stages of that. A free course for you if you want to. If not, again, just go to the object and try to see how long can you stay with one object without distraction. And that will be a way of waking up from the nightmare of being a person. Little by little, the more you are able to collect your mind, the more you will wake up to noticing that it's not, you don't have to change. You don't have to get enlightened. You don't have to become. You just realize what it is. And realize that only a person thinks it is a person. But actually, they are just thoughts. And you are already beyond any thought you could have. Any perception of a world, it is you. It has to be you. It's a clear, evident, new information that was always there, but you couldn't see because your mind was so agitated that you weren't able. Imagine that you're trying to read a book in a bumpy train or something like that. It's just like your eyes are moving like this. You cannot read. The same way, yes, there is oneness, there is enlightenment. There is not just for a person, it is enlightenment, the whole thing. But you cannot see because there is too much disruption. And it looks like it is not the case. So rest, that everything is exactly as it has to be. And just for a moment, allow your life to be as it is right now. Just consider that for reasons you don't understand, your life is exactly as it has to be. You don't need to change. Just rest in the peace that comes out of this acceptance, natural acceptance. You're not denying yourself. You're not denying the person. You're just opening and letting this moment be as it is. And your mind will try to distract you every few seconds. In the beginning, it's a lot out of compulsive lifestyle, of a separated experience. But just pick an object. It could be your breath, it could be a sound, and use it to teach you presence, to teach you how to let go of compulsive thinking, of separation. That's the activity that sustains the illusion that you're not living a perfect life already. Only your mind disagrees with that. But you're not your mind. You're free from it already. So rest. You're home. You don't have to do anything. Just remember to be present. Remember you're everything. Everything is you. But not by mentally trying to remember something in the past. You're remembering what it is now. Instead of being distracted, you realize you have been always there exactly where you had to be. There's no sin. There's no problem. There's peace.